I will call the August 10th, 2026 meeting of the Newtown Township Board of Supervisors to order. I will note that the board did meet in executive session at 6 p.m. where we discussed the following items. With regards to litigation, we discussed one zoning settlement. With regards to personnel, we discussed disability settlement as well as potential hires. I also want to apologize. I know we're starting a little bit late, but since we only meet once in July and August, there was a lot to get through. So I appreciate your understanding. With that being said, Mr. Neese, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Altieri.
Here.
Mr. San Francisco.
Here.
Mr. Russo.
Here.
Ms. Chanlis. Ms. Grosso.
Here.
Your engineer, solicitor, and manager are here.
Perfect. We'll now move down to section 4, which is a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. And we'll stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag, United States of America,
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now move down to section 5.1, consider the approving the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Grosso. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Section 6 is public comment for agenda items only. If there's any members of the, if there's any residents or taxpayers who have any public comment related to an agenda item, please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and please note that there is a 3-minute limit.
Yes.
Sorry. Hello, Suzanne McCutcheon, 149 Ashley Road. On the agenda tonight, 13.3, considering approval for the license plate readers donated to the police department and funded for 5 years by a third party for placement at Gradyville and 252. I know you don't have to answer any of the questions I have, but I hope you'll consider these questions for yourselves. When will the public know who the third party is? Is there a township policy and/or police department policy for how, when, and who can access the data? Is there a township and/or police department policy for protection from abuse of data from outside agencies, the third party, or someone that gains access to it? Will the third party have access to all the data from this and 7 other LPRs in the township? What's the purpose of yet another LPR in the township, and why in that location? How long is data being collected by these LPRs kept? Where is it kept? And who has access to it? The current police report does not mention anything about the current LPRs. How do we know that they're effective? I walk down to the renovated pond at Greer Park in the morning to say hello to the turtles. Why is there one pointing at the Greer Park, and who has access to that one? License plate readers have been used by people in other states to track citizens without cause or warrant. Readers have been abused by officers and others with access to stalk innocent people. Some LPRs read plates incorrectly, like mixing up the 0 and the 8 on the new Pennsylvania plates, and the Jersey plates that have smaller numbers in between. Companies like Phlox and Axon have been found to lie about who has access to the data. Automatic license plate reader vendors have begun marketing sensors that tie the wireless device a person carries to the vehicle's plate. That means your phones, your earbuds, your smartwatches, and any other devices broadcasts and correlates the devices that repeatedly travel with a vehicle into an electronic fingerprint tied to its plate. Just because it's free doesn't mean it's a good thing. This is a complex issue and can't be summed up in 3 minutes, even though I have 50 more seconds. There is a vast public-private surveillance network that is being deployed across the country. As the representative for our township, I would urge you to delve into this issue, the issues that other governments have had and are facing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? I will just 3 highlighted things as the next person comes up. There is a police department policy. There are not license plate readers in 7 other locations. There's only 1 other location, and the camera that's allegedly viewing at Greer Park is not one of the township. It is a personal surveillance video for that individual property owner. It's nothing associated with the township, nor is it a license plate reader. And they're not flock. Mrs. Carvanis.
Yes, thank you. Janet Carvanis, live at 23 Paper Mill Road here in Newtown Square. And I am co-chair of our Bird Town. And sorry, I can't say this after the presentation, but I really wanted to thank Steve Mostardi for his support of Bird Town here in Newtown Square, for his generosity and his really outreach to us. And I brought some of his brochures that he has for native plants, for pollinators. So thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Any other taxpayer or residents? Mr. Butler. You don't have to raise your hand either. You can just go. You can just, well, hold on, ma'am. I was just saying, if you have public comment, you don't have to raise your hand. You can just go up. That would be an agenda item. Yep. Mr.
John
Butler.
Butler, 102 Hunters Run. I echo the first person speaking about the license plate reader. Is that a standalone or is it part of a network? Because over the weekend, there was issues down in Georgia about the misuse of them. And I do have a problem that this is the first we hear that it's going to be installed. There's been no public notice of it. You don't really have a public safety committee where it would be discussed the pros and cons of it. It just pops up. And I think that is wrong because the public has no idea what's going on. I know Marple, I believe there's one, I think it's a standalone, it's been down there at the Blue Route. And I have no problem with that. You can catch people. The information isn't stored there like this. When you have a national network of these things, people are getting into it. There was a report that they were able to get in and into some court records and got some redacted material, confidential material using this network. And it's dangerous. Standalone, no problem. And it really would be nice to know who's paying for it. Also, you cut down the finance committee. I realized I didn't get appointed. I didn't expect to get appointed, but a finance committee of 3 members really can't do the job. I'm on the county one. We allowed everybody on there. The old finance committee was 5 members. I raised the issue about an amusement tax, didn't get an answer to the meeting, but all of a sudden we collected $1.5 million that we wouldn't have gotten maybe. But the comprehensive plan talked about things on the financial side that we didn't collect. So a full board, you should open up to everybody. If we had 10 people on the board, because the manager, he's still there. I mean, whether it's 3 people or 10 people, the manager's there. It's not another night for him. And you have more input. And the budget keeps going up. You're looking for ways to get money. And, there's an avenue. Also on the payment list, we're paying $8,000 for recycling bins. There is a grant that you can get, and we never filed for that. I think we should take over, file a grant and do the recycling in-house. But we're not taking advantage of grants either. And that may have been because we didn't have a finance director for a long time. But, we have to control expenses. And we have people willing, and you don't take advantage of it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Butler. I appreciate your service on the county finance committee that raised the taxes 22%. So thank you for that. Ms. Bruno, the floor is yours.
Good evening, greetings in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. I am here to speak about agenda item number 10.1 and respectfully request that Chief Lunn and the board address the incident that happened this weekend at 4126 West Chester Pike on Saturday, August 8th, as well as the parties that appear to have happened in the past, the recurring pattern. The community is curious to know what the extent of the investigation is. Is it an ongoing investigation? And
I'll let you finish, but just so you know, the police report is for the month prior. So not
I
anything
understand
that has
that's
to
why
do
I'm
with-
requesting, because the report that was given is about June. I'm asking, I think it's current event, and I think that's why everybody's here, is to find out what happened Saturday night, what policies are in effect to ensure that this doesn't escalate. Leonard, your statement on Facebook mentioned there were no gun incidents. Could we clarify, were there guns present by party goers? Was it hosted by an Airbnb or the house owner? What sort of investigation is ongoing? Did the police check the bedrooms? The advertisement said that they were selling rooms for rent, that it looked to appear that there was bottle service, which I think enters into criminal conduct if we're hosting parties and selling alcohol without a liquor license. So my concern, and I don't know about other residents' mine, is there an ongoing investigation? Is this a closed matter? And what was the extent of the car accident that happened? To, I believe, a resident of Newtown Township, a young girl coming home from babysitting that was in a car accident because of this. What is the ongoing investigation protocol, and how is this being handled to prevent this from escalating to what I heard at Splash Pool Club, where a party like this escalated into gunfire and violence? So I do just respectfully ask that between the board and the police chief with agenda item 10.1, that we don't ignore it, but that we address it and answer the questions about what is going on. Thank you very much.
Any other resident or taxpayer?
I think this is the appropriate time to speak. I'm Becky Legere from 21 Hunters Run. And I looked at the engineer's report from 10.8 on the list of reports. And it seems that his report is going to be about extending the sidewalks along Bishop Hollow Road. And that's what my points are that I want to make. I have had previous involvement in this issue. I have sent a letter to Chairman Altieri with my husband's reasons why we think extending the sidewalk from Stony Brook Boulevard up to the Petticoat League on the Hunters Run property side of the road is not the right thing to do. You said that you shared my letter with the engineer and then replied that, you know, he still thinks that his decision to place it on that side of the road is the correct one. We also came to the information session that was held here for members of Hunters Run. The engineer was not present, but I don't remember the man's name who did lead the meeting, but he said it was just for information only. He apologized that we were brought into the process so late, but he said the decision had really been made and he was just there to ask for our permission to have right-of-way for the sidewalk along that stretch. He said that the master plan is what is guiding the township's decision because people filled out questionnaires and they said they wanted to have an extensive sidewalk system here. My husband and I love sidewalks where they make sense. We think that the sidewalk should be continued from the Nell Little League down to the pedestrian crossing at Stony Brook Boulevard. That creates a nice loop so that Hunters Run residents and anyone living in the developments in down Stony Brook area can easily access the library, the township building, the playground, etc. We don't see a reason for having any sidewalk at all on either side of Bishop Hollow Road from Stony Brook Boulevard up to the Petticoat League field. That field is leased by a private entity. They maintain the field, they use it themselves. They don't encourage public to walk up the sidewalk and use that area. I think it would just create a parking issue in our development, which it's a private development. We already do have people that park there illegally to walk up to the field. They have a parking issue there that this sidewalk is not going to address. I think the town should be looking at them entering from their too small parking lot onto the hilltop where it's poor visibility at the crest. They park along Bishop Hollow Road because they run out of space in their small area. And there's a lot of horn honking and dangerous situations that the sidewalk is not going to address. The township is using the questionnaire and the master plan. And I know myself, when I fill out questionnaires, the questions are nuanced. They don't give you a chance to say, yes, I want to extend the sidewalks. And if the questionnaire said, do you want it to go to the Petticoat League? Maybe people checked yes, but they're not thinking about the whole picture. And that's what I would like the township to consider. We, along Bishop Hollow Road, we have added screening shrubs and everything to screen the residents that live right there from Bishop Hollow. And the new sidewalk, even though it's going to be as narrow as possible and as close to the road as possible, does have to remove some of that screening and also remove the entrance plantings to our development. So it becomes a financial responsibility for Hunter's Run Board to pay for redesigning the entrance, for maintaining. Thank you.
Thank you.
Becky, can you please, Becky, excuse me, your last name, can you spell that?
L-I-E-R-I.
Thank you.
Any other resident or taxpayer, please come to the podium. State your name and address, sir.
Bill Moran, 20 Hunters Run, Newtown Square. And I do live right actually next door to Becky. And so I back up to where the proposed sidewalk is. So for many obvious reasons, I do not want a sidewalk. But beyond that, I think it's a safety issue to not have it on the other side of the street, if in fact there is going to be a sidewalk. But if the people crossing that road with the families and kids right now, and you can say, well, they're not allowed to park there or whatever, it's not going to stop them from parking there. And also in the corporate center, there's a parking lot that they utilize, which I understand they're not supposed to, but you know what they do. There's not enough parking up there for them. So when they try and cross Bishop Hollow in the middle of the road there, the cars crest that hill and it is extremely unsafe. I have heard brakes squeaking, etc., as kids are trying to get across that street. It makes all the sense in the world to be on the other side of the street. And I don't believe I've been given a good enough reason as to why it is not on the other side of the street. And I'm just talking safety reasons. And I think that should be your main concern before somebody gets seriously hurt. There could be a crosswalk at the top of the street at the hill where families and children can cross with a blinking light when they're crossing. I don't even know what those kind of lights are called, but you kind of know what I'm talking about. And that's it. That's how I feel. Wanted to share that with.
Thank you very much, sir.
Uh-huh.
Any other resident or taxpayer?
My name is Tony McBrien. I'm a Hunters Run resident, and many of my neighbors have come here tonight about the location of this proposed sidewalk. Those concerns are very important, and I share many of them. I don't want to repeat the points, but I want to focus on something completely different. Transparency and the process that brought us here. My concern isn't whether the township has the authority to pursue this project. My concern is whether the process reflected the level of openness and communications that residents should reasonably expect from their local government. From our perspective, Hunters Run was not meaningfully involved until May of this year, when we were presented with engineering drawings for a project that has already progressed through the grant funding, engineering, and agency review. It appears that there was little opportunity for residents to meaningfully participate in this discussion. Which leaves me with one simple question. When did the township determine this project would require property rights beyond the existing public right-of-way? And why weren't residents that are going to be affected brought into the conversation at that point? I'm not asking that question to assign blame. I'm asking because transparency is more than complying with legal notice requirements. It means engaging residents while ideas are still being developed, not after the project has largely taken shape. Whether residents ultimately agree or disagree with this project, I believe everyone benefits. When communication begins early engagement builds trust. Late engagement creates doubt, even when the intentions are good. My hope is that this board will use this project as an opportunity to reflect on the township's public engagement process and consider whether future projects that directly affect established neighborhoods should include residents much earlier in the planning process. Transparency is not measured by when residents are informed. It's measured by whether they are informed early enough to become part of the conversation. And Hunter's Run was not. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other resident or taxpayer? Yeah, you don't have to wave, sir. Make sure you speak and state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Mike Sheridan. My address is 45 Hunters Run, and I will be brief. First thing I'd like to do is to ask all the people who are here from Hunters Run who are opposed to this sidewalk going on our side of Bishop Hollow Road. Would you kindly stand so they have an understanding of how much this means to us? Okay? Thank you, folks. Thank you. Second and last, and it kind of dovetails on what Tony said. There's.
Mike, is that on? Is that microphone on?
Is
Yeah.
that on?
Yeah.
Is it better if I hold it up to me? You got to get every word here. The thing I was going to say, and it dovetails with what Tony said, we're not against sidewalks. We're for safety. We watch every day during the course of the Petticoat League and see people park on both sides of Bishop Hollow. The people who park on the Hunters Run side have a straight path up to the fields. The people who park on the opposite side with little kids, the little ones are always coming out of the car with their parents. They have to go somewheres across Bishop Hollow Road. I know it's been said by some, because many of your professionals have been kind enough to come and meet with us, that they have the opportunity to go down to Campus Boulevard, that crossing that's been in place there. Nobody does that. Nobody does it. Zero. They try and find their way across that street. And I worry that somebody's going to get hurt. And if you put it on the other side of Bishop Hollow, on the Campus Boulevard side, and you put a flashing light that you can, I guess they have them now like they do down at Bryn Mawr Hospital, where you can push a button and it flashes the light and people are able to cross the street. That, in our opinion, and I think the opinion of the folks that came out tonight, will, as best we can, eliminate that dangerous condition. It's a bad place to start with. I mean, people fly down that road. But to have those people on that side of Bishop Hollow not have access other than crossing that street, I worry for them. I worry for them. And I hope you took that into consideration, because it could be a serious, serious problem. I thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Any other resident or taxpayer for public comment on an agenda item?
Stuart Burston, 96 Hunters Run. No matter what and who is paying for it, there will be cost for everyone in this area for this sidewalk. And the sidewalk will serve a purpose of going to the Petticoat when they do not have parking in that area, and park across the street has already been raised. So when one starts planning, it's always good to know the why of what you're doing. And this is a sidewalk that will not be going from parking to the Petticoat League, will not be used more than 3 months or so a year, and will have a cost to everybody. And so I just wonder whether anyone has done a cost-benefit analysis from a minimally or not used sidewalk to a place where it's not going to be leading to parking legally, and what will be the benefit versus the cost that each one of us in this room will be paying?
Thank you very much, sir. Any other resident or taxpayer?
My name is Jackie Costas. I live at 40 Hunters Run. It's my understanding from what's been communicated that the residents of Hunters Run are going to be responsible for the maintenance of the sidewalk. Sidewalk that we don't want, that we didn't ask for, but we have to pay for it. So we have to pay snow removal and whatever, just general maintenance. So if somebody trips on the sidewalk, they're suing Hunters Run? And we're all paying for that? That's seems grossly unfair to me. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Any other resident or taxpayer?
My name is Fran Marabella. I reside at 5 Hunters Run.
Fran, I'm sorry, real quick. What did you say your last name was?
Marabella, M-A-R-A-B-E-L-L-A.
M-A-R-A. Thank you.
5 Hunters Run. I voiced the same concerns as my previous community members, and we're concerned with the safety. During league games, people are down past, we cannot park. And it causes a lot of safety issues. Us getting out of the community and the people going in between cars across the street. And there's other concerns, maintenance issues with snow removal and just the increase of traffic to the community, which is a private residence, marked private, no trespassing. Pretty much our other people said the same, so that's my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other resident or taxpayer?
I'm Mike Ryan, 22 Hunters Run. I face exactly where the sidewalk will go. Obviously, I would prefer it not to happen. As some have said, I have no problems with extending, travel or sidewalks. I think, and Mike Sheridan really hit it with, I can see it through the trees, the people crossing the road there. So if the sidewalk goes through on our side, we still need to address this whole safety issue. I just want to emphasize that one point because that's not going away. We put a sidewalk.
The safety issue on the other side of.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
With, and can you pause that time? I don't want to cut into this time real quick. With regards to the sidewalk, if the sidewalk goes through, seeing that you're directly affected with regards to it being in your backyard, have you gave any consideration or thought into if the sidewalk does go in there, what you or your neighbors that are on that limited 800 feet would want with regards to, is it additional shrubbery? Is it additional plantings, things like that? Like, has there been conversations with that? And then unfortunately, I'm going to turn your time back on now. Okay.
We have talked about that with the last meeting. And yes, that might be preferable. That's just the privacy side.
Yeah.
And if it were, if this is a thing that it's a done deal, this is going to come through no matter what. Yes, we certainly would like that, but we prefer not to have the sidewalk on that side.
Like I said.
But if it does go through, again, really the safety issue is my biggest concern.
Got it. Thank
And
you,
I
sir.
feel you.
Appreciate it. Any other resident or taxpayer? I'll give one more chance. Any other resident or taxpayer? Ms. Zerka.
We need to turn the volume up
I
on this.
can't hear. I don't know if I'm clogged or what, but.
I know.
appreciate it.
Denise Zerka, 67 Hunters Run. And I will not reiterate what everybody else has commented on. I do agree with it. Sidewalks serve a purpose, definitely. In this case, I don't understand the purpose it serves. I'm more concerned, as everyone else said, about the safety. I'm an original homeowner there, so I've seen the number of people going to the Petticoat League, which is great. The problem is on the other side of the road. And due to the site distance and the topography and the hills there, it's a real concern. I think to have a sidewalk benefit someone, the community, it would best be served on the other side of the road, at least at this point.
Yeah. Any other resident or taxpayer?
Good evening. I'm Michelle Beechler. I live at 82 Hunters Run. And well, it seems to be, I understand that this has already gone through a lot of planning and this sidewalk seems to be the thing that's likely going to happen. I do echo my fellow resident sentiments with regards to that. I do think, though, that this is a missed opportunity, especially with regards to the fact that we just rezoned all of Campus Boulevard, and that's going to include all this mixed zoning and bring a lot of people and potentially pedestrian traffic as well from families and kids there. And there's a missed connection on this hill up past now down to all of our township, our township building here and services here. I do think that a sidewalk there first, at least, would be a better use of funds. And, considering we're going to have all this development, certainly help the community that we're going to build there. Thank you for your time.
That is included.
Say again.
The sidewalk from campus to here is included in the budget.
Yeah. Any other resident or taxpayer? Any other resident or taxpayer for agenda items? There's still a public comment section at the end. Mr. Serta.
My address to.
Yeah, we're gonna need it. No preferential treatment for you there.
Understood. Joe Serto, 86 Hunters Run. And I certainly will not echo, bore you with all the details of what everybody else has already said. I concur with everything that's been said so far. The only thing that I would ask in this particular case is that I hope you all have an open mind enough where you are willing to meet with our association, our homeowners association, prior to actually awarding or, starting the project, so that we can kind of, find a way to, see each other's sides, and where we can maybe, come to an agreement on the record, off the record, whatever the case may be. And really make whatever's going to happen the best outcome that it can possibly be. You got, and I don't even know if it was sanctioned or whatnot, but, Rich and Eric were both out at our site a couple weeks ago. We spoke with them, and the primary concern, again, is safety, I think. And while we're all standing there talking and, trying to come to I'm not going to say an agreement, but, kind of understand each other's points, we literally watch somebody almost rear end somebody else. And you talk about those screeching brakes, and, it was right there, and we were all standing right there at the street when it happened. So take that, whether it's, a car, somebody who's not paying attention, they're driving down the road, playing with their cell phones, whatever the case may be. There is a lot of pedestrian traffic that occurs, and that is not to be taken lightly, because they are crossing that road and, don't want to see something tragic occur when it could have been avoided by potentially putting into effect some other safety measures. That's it.
Just one clarification. I know your time's almost up, but you said you didn't know whether it was sanctioned. The board knew that our professional staff was going out there and meeting with a group of residents. It was sanctioned, and it was something that the board knew of.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yep.
We would just like to maybe talk a little bit more.
Understood.
Thank you.
Any other resident or taxpayer? Excuse me. Not contagious. It's been around for 3 weeks. I don't know what's going on with this cough. I apologize. Any other resident or taxpayer?
For 16 years, I've been a resident of Hunters Run. I'm proud this year to have paid off my home and to be a good resident in Newtown Township.
Excuse me, Martha, just.
All right.
Just
I want to,
your last name and your address.
right, I want to say my feelings,
Rich, I got it.
I sympathize and I agree with my fellow residents of Hunters Run in opposition to the sidewalk. I don't think it is a positive move for us, and we have our safety concerns. It's not a positive mood if it increases illegal parking on that side of the road. However, I'm very concerned about sidewalks and runways. It's a hill that slopes down to the intersection of Campus Boulevard, Bishop Hollow, and Stony Creek. That intersection, if the engineers get things wrong, will be flooded. Flooding can back up and cause a lot of problems for the township and the police and the fire department in rerouting traffic. There are proposals for the development of the campus, of the corporate campus. Some of those proposals are to bring in many more residents. And a flooding intersection is a danger to all of those who would be coming to Newtown Township. I think we have a balance. There is wildlife in the vicinity, and there is a lot that is pleasant and very, very beautiful. And my opposition is routed around maintaining the beauty that all of us enjoy.
Ma'am, real quick, it's Ann Martha, correct?
Right.
And then what is your address, ma'am? Your address?
47.
47. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Eric, can you move that water bottle? Someone left their water bottle. Is there any other resident or taxpayer who has a wish to provide public comment on agenda items? If the spirit moves you, there's also an opportunity at the end. So we're going to move off of this. Seeing none. All right. We'll move down to section 7.1, consider approving the minutes from the July 13th, 2026 meeting. Is there a second? Motion was made by Supervisor Chandler, seconded by Supervisor Grosso. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. I would wait if you want until at least the engineer's report. I know it looks like there's some confusion out there. I think some of the comments are going to be addressed in the engineer's report. And then you can all leave if you want, or you can continue to see your local government in action. But I didn't want you to think that there wasn't going to be some answers to the information. We'll move down to section 8, which is resolutions of recognition. 8.1, resolution 2026-28, recognizing Mostardi Nursery for receiving national industry recognition. Supervisor Grosso.
Resolution 2026-26, recognizing Mostardi's Nursery for receiving national industry recognition. Whereas Mostardi's Nursery, a family-owned business located in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania, has proudly served Newtown Township and Delaware County since 1976, providing a wide variety of plants and horticultural services for both residential and commercial use throughout all seasons. And whereas owner Steve Mostardi partners with the Newtown Square in Bloom to participate in the National American in Bloom program, strengthening local efforts to enhance community beautification, environmental stewardship, and civic pride. And whereas beginning each January, the professional horticultural team at Mostardi's Nursery cultivates and prepares hanging baskets, planting in greenhouses, resulting in the vibrant, high-quality floral displays that contribute significantly to the character and beauty of the township. And whereas, as a result of years of excellent horticultural community partnership and industry leadership, Mostardi's Nursery has been selected as the 2026 Lawn and Garden Retailer Magazine Innovator of the Year. And whereas Mostardi's Nursery was recognized at the National American Hort Cultivate 2026 Convention in Columbus, Ohio, with the official award ceremony taking place on Sunday, July 12th. Whereas Lawn and Garden Retail Magazine is a respected national publication that highlights independent garden centers that demonstrate exceptional customer service, strong community engagement, innovation, and a commitment to fostering supportive workplace cultures with the green industry. And whereas Mostardi's Nursery will also be featured in the July 2026 issue of Lawn and Garden Retailer Magazine in recognition of this outstanding achievement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Newtown Township hereby congratulates Steve Mostardi, his family, and the entire staff of Mostardi's Nursery on being named the 2026 Lawn and Garden Retailer Magazine Innovator of the Year, and extends its sincere appreciation for their longstanding partnership, civic contribution, and dedication to enhancing the beauty and environmental quality of Newtown Township and the broader Delaware County community. Adopted this 10th day of August, 2026.
Second.
Well, this is going to get really awkward if we don't vote for this now, after that. So the motion was made by Supervisor Grosso. Is there a second? Seconded by
Second.
Supervisor Chanlis. Is there any additional comment from the board? The only thing I'll add is, Steve, you've been a wonderful partner to the township throughout the years, whether it's, us running over there for additional shrubbery or anything else that we need for our projects. We appreciate the partnership, the collaboration, the cooperation. It's been great. Having you in Newtown Township is what makes Newtown Township the jewel in the crown of Delaware County, that we're able to say that we have a family-run business like that here. So thank you to your family for the countless sacrifices you all have made over the years to continue to employ so many wonderful individuals, many from this community, and to provide the opportunity for so many residents in this community to beautify their homes with your help. So thank you very much. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries. And we'll give you your resolution now. All right, we'll move down to section 9, appointment to boards and commissions. 9.1, consider approving Stephen Sessa to fill an unexpired term expiring on 12/31/2028 on the Finance Committee. Motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. Is there any board discussion?
I would just like to comment that I had the chance to talk to Stephen, and he will contribute, I think, a thoughtful perspective based on his background in accounting, finance, and advisory work, and I think he will be an asset to our Finance Advisory Board.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Grosso. Any other board discussion?
Yeah, we were all both into that interview, so it was very good.
Yourself and Supervisor Grosso. Any other board comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Section 10, reports. 10.1, report from the police department. I know Chief Lunn is not here. Captain Newell is. And Captain Newell, I believe that you do have an update to provide with regards to events that occurred on Saturday, or allegedly occurred on Saturday. Your microphone's on? Is your mic on? Just keep it close to you. For some reason, it's not picking up.
My name's John Newell. I'm the captain of the police department in Newtown Township. Here to address some of the concerns or issues that some of the residents have regarding an incident that occurred Saturday night, August 8th, at 4126 West Chester Pike. There was a party held at that residence. The first police call was about 7 o'clock at night, and that was just advising we had received an anonymous complaint through the 911 center that was third party through the Philadelphia Dispatch Center of a possible fight at the address or the parking lot of the Drexel Lodge, and that somebody may be bringing mace to the event. Our officers responded. There was no fight in the park. They responded to residents. They were met by the private security out front of the residents who spoke with our officers. They were professional. They were cooperative with the police officers that were there. The homeowner was asked to come out. The homeowner came out, spoke with the police, invited the police to come into the backyard to confirm that there was no fight taking place or any other acts of violence. Our officer went out back, looked around. Clearly, there were no fights or any other acts of violence going on at the event. The homeowner advised the police that they're welcome to stop back if they got any more complaints, just to verify that there was no public safety issues as far as any violent acts or anything else. Our officers left. They did advise a homeowner because of the fact that there were some vehicles parked in the Drexel Lodge parking lot. Those vehicles would have to be removed prior to dark, which is our typical, it's a township ordinance. There are no vehicles allowed in after dark. The homeowner advised that he would take care of that. And once dark came, there were no vehicles in the park. At about 10:30 that night, we got a report through the 911 center of a motor vehicle accident, non-reportable, basically meaning there was a minor motor vehicle accident. Our officers arrived. It was a 3-car accident. It involved one of the employees working at the event pulling out of a driveway. When that person pulled out of a driveway, there was another driver in the eastbound lane of West Chester Pike that rear-ended another car. At that time, there was a large amount of people leaving the party. It was about 10 o'clock at night. The party was basically was ending at 10 o'clock at night, and all the people at the party were leaving the party itself at 10, congregated on the roadway, and were causing a traffic issue. Our officers addressed the traffic issue, eventually got everybody off the road, got the cars on the way, and then cleared the scene sometime around a little bit after 11 o'clock at night. Once they cleared the scene, we received no further calls that entire night. As far as any accusations or comments that were on social media saying that the police were notified weeks before about all these parties are simply not true. We ran the address in our database. We received no calls whatsoever about any large parties or anything else going on at that address in 2026. They had one call in 2025 of a noise complaint about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. They responded to the house and there was no issues with any kind of noise complaint or anything else. As far as guns being pointed at people, we have no reports whatsoever, any guns being pointed at anybody. There were armed security guards at the event. The resident is more than welcome and to hire private security with guns or without guns. It's fully within the right to be a property owner. It's also our Second Amendment right to carry open carry in public, unless you're a convicted felon. But at no time were any guns pointed at anybody, nor did we ever receive from anybody, whether it was the victim in the car accident itself, at the party, neighbors around the party. We received no complaints of any kind of firearms violations whatsoever. As far as the advertisements that were on social media, there's thousands of those advertisements online. It would be impossible to look at every one. And even if we did look at every one, if you've seen those advertisements, They don't disclose the location of the party until 2 days prior. The only time they disclose it is once you pay the bill to go to the party, they'll let you know where the address is. So even if we had some kind of 10-man data processing center to look at every ad on Facebook or Instagram for those parties, we wouldn't know it was in Newtown unless we paid $40 to everyone to get the actual location. So we had no way of knowing that this party was going to be held. If we did, the township would have addressed it as such prior to the event. But anything on social media as far as us knowing, the township being aware of it, they're simply not true. Any violations concerning payment to get into the party are going to be addressed by the Township Codes Department. That's their responsibility. There's not a police function. Any rule or violations concerning liquor law violations, they'll be addressed by the Pennsylvania State Police Bureau of Liquor Control. They're a civilian version, a civilian branch of the Pennsylvania State Police, and they handle any liquor control violations. Again, that is not a local law enforcement. We have no responsibility into that. And that's typically handled over the course of multiple complaints. Bar owners, underage drinking, Eagles game, tailgate parties with underage drinking, those kind of things. But again, not part of the local law enforcement's responsibilities. That's addressed by the civilian branch of the Pennsylvania State Police. And all those issues will be addressed now that we are aware of that part of what happened at the house. It's already being addressed. It was addressed today. And if the owner does not comply with the township's recommendations, then they'll address it. But the owner was cooperative that night, and I have no reason to believe that he won't continue to cooperate once we express that they're not going to be having any more parties there.
So John, just a few follow-up questions. No criminal activity was found.
No criminal activity was found. The only thing that would even be borderline would be once the people were leaving the party, some people were slow to leave, kind of lingering on the highway, but that's no different than when we have soccer games going on up there, people won't leave or anything else. Again, we're not going to arrest people simply because they're just not leaving when we're asking. Had it been a continuous problem, had there been somebody making threats, something like that, that would have been something we would have acted on.
Got it. And the thought of armed security at a party is actually something that is not uncommon in Newtown Township.
No, as a matter of fact, 3 months ago at the PGA event, I am aware of at least 2 parties that were held at private residence with armed security.
Got it. And so the accusations or comments that there were multiple 911 calls, that's just not accurate.
Not accurate. There are no prior 911 calls for 4126 West Chester Pike for any kind of large parties or violations. That night itself, there was the initial third-party complaint that came in around 7 o'clock at night. There was the accident report, and then the officers remained on scene to assist with traffic. Now, people may have called during that time about the traffic jam, but the police were already there, so they would not have relayed that to the officers because the radio room would have already known we were already there. So,
but essentially by 11:30, the scene was cleared and there was no further activity there.
There was no 911 calls after that, and the scene was eventually cleared with the people on West Chester Pike around 11 o'clock. Whether there were people in the backyard, I couldn't tell you because we didn't receive any complaints about
But
it.
not a raging party till 2:30 in the morning.
No.
Okay. Now, if there's any other questions from the board to Captain Newell, I'll let the board ask them, and then we'll turn it over to the solicitor to talk from a high level about the civil enforcement, because this really is nothing more than just a zoning enforcement issue. This is not a criminal issue based off of what the police officers saw. But I think what Captain Newell has provided to the public and to this board yet again is important. As we've seen, unfortunately, through the power and curse of social media, is that when any entity puts out facts, there's always individuals who are able to just blatantly lie. But the facts are the facts, and I think that's what's important tonight for our residents to hear. So is there any other questions for Captain Newell?
I don't have any other questions, but I just want to say that I appreciate you taking the time to provide the accurate information and clear up what actually happened. That's how we continue to build trust in our community. So thank you.
One thing I did want to address, because I did see things about somebody bearing a vest saying agent with a rifle that approached the car of the young girl that was driving the car. There was, as far as I know, there was one security officer that went up to the car to make sure the girl was okay. Once he confirmed that, the police arrived, he walked away. The person that I saw was not carrying any kind of rifle. That's not to say she didn't see somebody maybe on the property, but no one approached her with a pointed gun. Matter of fact, the person working the event actually went over to make sure she was okay.
And when you say you saw, it's because you reviewed the body cam footage, is that correct?
That's correct.
Perfect. Mr. Solicitor?
I got just one more question because I see all this stuff online too. During a law enforcement call, when you're out on the scene or before you get there, is there any way that supervisors are involved in that? The township supervisor, is there like a call to say, hey, don't do something because we don't want problems, or is that, how does that work?
No, it's not a thing.
So the township supervisors are not involved in law enforcement at all?
No.
So when there's not a crime committed, right? So the police aren't actually arresting people when there's no crime, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
But there might be other things, and that's where the township gets involved outside of law enforcement. So some things are violations of the township code, but they're not criminal in nature. Those, for instance, the zoning code. You live in a single family residential zoning district, you're not allowed to perform commercial activities. You're allowed to have parties, right? So if somebody's having a party and it's too loud, there's a noise complaint. It's handled a certain way. You're having a party, but you're advertising it to the public and you're charging admission. Okay. And if you're charging to the public, that's a violation of the zoning code. That's commercial use of the property. There's a remedy for that. It's in the civil courts, and that's where the township takes actions. Township gives notices to the property owner. Township says you have to cease and desist. If it doesn't work, you go to court, you get an order from the court. That's the process. Any questions from the board?
And that property owner has been notified already, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was out there today and served notice.
So
As we would do in any situation.
in any situation. So anything with regards to a zoning violation, we followed our normal procedures as of this morning.
Correct.
Perfect. Any questions? Excuse me, any questions for the solicitor or for Captain Newell from the board?
I'd just like to thank Township. I mean, they worked tirelessly this weekend, all the officers and the whole police department, codes department, Steve, George, maintenance, everybody did everything they could this weekend to be on top of this subject. Really appreciate everybody's help with this.
Thank you, Captain Newell. Appreciate it. I'm sorry. Yeah, so what we'll do, so ma'am, real quick. So what we'll do is if you have public comment, you can provide the public comment at the agenda item at the end. But as Captain Newell did say, there's nothing, whether it's for a party, for a birthday, or someone having a party at their house that prohibits any member of the public from parking in any of our public parks. We have an ordinance for the, good. Clean that up then if you want.
Parking in our parks is for going to our parks. That is the purpose. People do not always honor that.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Captain Newell. I appreciate it. All right, we'll move down to section, 10.2, report from the fire department, Chief Young. I don't believe he's here, so there's nothing to add to his report. 10.3, report from the public works director. I don't think Mr. Sharretts is here. Oh, Mr. Sharretts, anything to add to your report? Thank you very much. 10.4, report from the codes department. I know Mr. Rezchek is away, but is there any update on his report? No? Any questions?
you do.
Any questions on his
Question.
report?
So there was one question on 7 Campus Boulevard, 35 Bishop Hollow Road conditional use application that is being extended. I wondered if maybe the engineer, the solicitor, or township manager can just provide a quick update on that.
Yeah, there was a conditional use application filed. The zoning there has changed. It was filed for apartment type, multifamily, age restricted housing. The new plan, new intent of the property owner is for an assisted living facility consistent with the current zoning. And so he doesn't ask, he just says, I'm providing an extension. It's his application. So we could push it and say, come in and present your application, or he's working on the new plan, which will be presented under an amendment to this application.
Okay. And just, Rich, is there any risk to continuing to allow the extensions?
We don't allow extensions. I mean, he provides the
Right.
extension. We could say, come in and
Make a
present
decision.
and
Yeah.
present, correct. And then we can present something that we don't like, and then we can go from there. They can change later.
Any other questions from the board? All right, 10.5, report from the finance department. Mr. Neese, anything to add?
Yeah, the only thing I would just add is that we continue to make progress. We have submitted the 2024 audit to the board or to the auditors, and they are reviewing it. And we're providing subsequent documents as they've requested. But all the audits for the library and for the municipal authority have been completed.
Perfect. Any questions from the board? 10.6, report from the Public Works Department or Committee. Mr. Pollock, I don't think is here. All right, 10.7, report from Leisure Services. Mr. Enhow, I don't believe is here. All right, 10.8, report from the Township Engineer. Mr. Johnson, how about you go through your normal report and then we'll put you on the hot seat.
Sure, so yeah, just an update on a few projects that have been going on. First one, after many months going back with PennDOT, we have gotten approval for the improvements to the 5 traffic signal detection program. We're going to update. We're now going to be able to proceed towards bidding and making improvements at the Route 252 and White Horse Road and Goshen Road and Route 3 with Valley View and Radnor, and then also the intersection of Route 3 and 252. We're all going to get detection updates. So we'll be proceeding over the next few months to construction with that. Greer Park, as you're well aware, the work is substantially done, just a few punch list items. As I detailed out more in the written report, as far as like the landscaping and now the grass down the hill was a little got fried out by the 100-degree temperatures during the summer. So that's going to be restored in the fall. And then the plantings that are down closer to the stream, they look very brown now, but that is actually just part of the growth process of it. You put in the grass around the pond to stabilize it this year, and then over the course of the next year, all the native grasses, wildflowers, and other plants start to fill in after that. So it'll, from here, is kind of the low point of the appearance, and start to appear, pop back up. And just we passed along on Friday, we actually got an unsolicited call from a resident. Last year, we had done a stormwater improvement project at Lewis and Cayley Road. The resident who was receiving a large amount of water actually called and said after these huge storms, it is thanking us that it actually had worked, and he was no longer getting water on his property.
You want to repeat that a little louder?
I wanted to make sure that we relayed that project we did last year was working very effectively. So that's the rest of my items.
Awesome. So we heard a lot of comments, very valid to an extent, comments, concerns. From an overview perspective, when we are looking, we as a township and you from an engineering perspective are looking at placing a sidewalk for connectivity, what are the factors that go into the decision specifically for this one to use a Hunter's Run side as opposed to what I'll call the corporate campus side?
Right. So really what this sidewalk project is, and this section we're talking about is only a portion of what this particular project. The scope of this project is the sidewalk along Hunter's Run, but it's also the sidewalk from Campus Boulevard up to the Little League that has that missing section, a sidewalk, as well as the missing gaps that are further up here along Bishop Hollow Road, including pedestrian crossing improvements up here at Ellis. And really what this whole project is to continue the march of having better and more connected pedestrian connections throughout the township. That's evidenced by the extensive trails that are now along 252, by the sidewalk we did at Ellis Avenue. And now this is the next phase where we are trying to pick up residential and pedestrian locations, and be that entire neighborhoods is what we're targeting. So by having a sidewalk that not only that is on a side where you have a neighborhood and you're connecting it to the existing sidewalks at Campus Boulevard and Stony Brook Boulevard, which we already know people are trying to reach that end. That's that stretch of sidewalk. And then the other end, there is an end of the sidewalk in this project, but that's where the current funding ends. And being on that side of the road, it's not only this current neighborhood, but it also provides the opportunity for the next phase, either further down Bishop Hollow or going through municipally and publicly owned properties to pick up other neighborhoods on that side. As opposed to campus, the side on the commercial complex, there currently is no pedestrian destination on that location. There may be some, as we're hearing, people who are illegally parking on that side of the road. But again, that's the occasional. So if we are looking to actually pick up the pedestrians, the side where the pedestrians are is where we've been targeting.
Got it. Is there any, on the campus boulevard side, excuse me, the corporate campus side, are there any restrictions that are existing already with regards to, potential issues such as like stormwater management facilities and things like that, that also would complicate the ability to be able to place a sidewalk over there?
Correct, there are. So three aspects. So the first one is the same, I think there's been a lot of discussion about needing, we have the right of way, so that's where we're allowed to put a sidewalk. And it's narrow on the side where we're contemplating, and we're just shy about it between 0 and 2 feet of room for the sidewalk. That same condition does exist on the other side, so it's not unique to just this side. But the largest concern is there's the stormwater basin that exists on that side of the street where the slope actually starts to drop off into the basin. So when we try and install a sidewalk, we'd have to have some combination of modifying the stormwater basin or building up a sidewalk with some kind of railing, and then we end up with then having to cut into the hillside. So there's a lot of technical aspects that make that not as viable.
Got it. Supervisor Grosso from the board.
Just from a safety perspective,
Software.
yeah. Can you share a little bit about what you looked at from a safety perspective for pedestrians walking there that some of the residents brought up today?
On which side?
Where the crosswalk is, people were saying that the benefit of having it on the other side was for safety reasons. Do you see anything from your analysis that caused any issues to be concerned about?
So yes, so there are, I guess, let's think of it two ways. We have a sidewalk that we are considering right now. This is not a sidewalk that's being designed to provide access explicitly. That work? Okay. The sidewalk that is being considered now is not, the intention of the sidewalk is not providing pedestrian connection and from a parking location to the Petticoat League. The sidewalk is the extension of the pedestrian facilities in the township, which currently has made it to just about this point, and this is the next phase in. That said, the Petticoat League is a publicly owned property. It is a recreational facility, so it is a destination that people will ultimately end up getting to. So a sidewalk on the other side is not effectively extending that pedestrian extension. If we were moving on that side, the idea of putting the sidewalk on that side seems to be focused on providing pedestrian access for the people who are parking in places they should not be parking to the Petticoat League, and providing it, making it easier and simpler for people to make that crossing. That's not to say we should not be, and we have actually, there has been conversations and actually discussions with PennDOT about the pedestrian crossing. and how to safely get people across that road. That is a concurrent project that could run, to look at that as well. And there's been conversations on that end, but the sidewalk itself is not explicitly for that parking of the petticoat.
So Aaron, I know this is opinion, not your fact. We heard how dangerous Bishop Hollow Road is at the crest, and putting a pedestrian crosswalk at the crest instead of a traffic light at the bottom. In your engineer opinion, which is safer?
So I can tell you, a pedestrian crossing intersection is always the best. It is the standard, it is what you want. A mid-block crossing is what the top of the crest would be, a mid-block crossing, which is never preferred. You will see where they're installed sometimes where they're deemed necessary, or where you have a targeted location where you want to be crossing people. I recently had worked on a project where we have a road that cuts through a town, and the swim club is on one side of the street and a large neighborhood is the other. That made sense. We had to find location. So we really don't want to encourage people crossing where in unsafe location. And there has been conversations with PennDOT to that end. And
PennDOT ultimately has to say with a lot of this.
correct. Now this is that is right. This is a state road. So ultimately everything has to be vetted through PennDOT. And even anything with the sidewalk does have to go through approval and meet PennDOT standards. That pedestrian crossing, if that was ever to come to fruition, would have to be designed to and approved by PennDOT.
Thanks, Eric.
Mr. Altieri, I guess one other thing, I mean, you mentioned to me before that you've actually observed, just watched pedestrians in the area.
Correct.
And what have you observed about pedestrians walking in that area?
And I've witnessed, we know that the neighborhood, Stony Brook Boulevard, but also crossing over and up into Campus Boulevard is a destination already. People are seeking that location and walking. And I have actually stood out front on Bishop Hollow Road and watched pedestrians walk down the grass, along the south side of Bishop Hollow Road to go reach a sidewalk. So there is a desired path we have witnessed, and we see people making these pedestrian pathways, trying to get to the existing sidewalk network. And we're really just looking to seek to extend, that sidewalk in furtherance of the master plan of the township. Correct, yes.
Any other comments from the board? Sorry. Go ahead.
No, Rich, I just have a quick question, because something that got brought up today was about making sure that we inform residents in a timely fashion when we're doing stuff. One of the things that we're looking at for transparency has to do with a planning tool that municipalities have related to the official map, that we can highlight areas that we are looking to increase walkability. We know in our comprehensive plan, when we had the first public comment, that people are concerned about walkability. They want the connections. I think this sidewalk project helps us get to where we want to be. I also think they wanted to decrease traffic. So the more that we have connections for people to be able to access a lot of our amenities in the town, we can accomplish both of those. But something that might help with people understanding where we're looking to put things. I know a planning tool that municipalities use to help us outline where we want to eventually have sidewalks, trails, so that people can know in advance is the official map. And I didn't know if you just wanted to maybe state how that might have helped, because I think we are trying to communicate to let people know, but there's always opportunities to improve.
Yeah, so there's multiple planning tools that the township uses, and the township encourages maximum participation, because that's where people talk about. There's Trails and Greenways committees. There's that have for years looked at these issues. There's the official map process that you just talked about. That's by ordinance, and that goes through the Planning Commission and the Delaware County Planning Department. I think there's a master trail plan, but pretty much every result that we get doing any planning tool, no matter what the form is people want more interconnectability by walking between the neighborhoods. That's just, it's very consistent, very consistent. So yes, that official map would help that process as well.
Any other comments from the board? All right, 10.9, report from the township manager, Mr. Neese.
Yes, just a couple quick things. One, I just want to bring to your attention, we've had a traffic signal that has been down over the weekend. For those of you that are traveling up and down 252 and at Sawmill, it went out on Saturday. I think they got it fixed Saturday night, and then it went back out again Sunday evening. My understanding is it is now on flash. Is it still on flash, George? Have they gotten the backup controller in? I know they were working towards that.
Yeah, just before rush hour today, they were able to get the temporary controller in.
So I just want to make note that that temporary controller's in. It will not necessarily be the same timing that was before. It's not programmed exactly the same as what was there before. It's just a temporary controller we're able to bring in, but it will operate the light that will turn green, it will turn red, and we can allow for safety at that location. So just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. I thank George and his team for staying on top of that. Also wanted to let you know, you had 2 scouts that came before you and presented projects. One of those, Mr. Callie, Owen Callie, he was the one that was installing signs at the Drexel Lodge Park. He's actually doing that this, I think it's this Saturday, beginning at 9 o'clock. The board wanted to know, so I wanted to let you know he's starting at 9 on Saturday. And then Bella Zahner, she's doing the project with installing the picnic benches at Greer Park, and she's doing her project on August 22nd. I think that's also a Saturday. So I just wanted you to be aware of those 2 events. And that is my report for this evening.
Any questions for the township manager? Moving on to section 11, payments, 11.1. Can I get a motion approving certificate of payment request number 2 totaling $423,849.26 for JMC Contractors Incorporated associated with the Greer Park redevelopment project as approved by the township engineer, leaving a remaining balance to finish of $232,516.44.
So moved.
Motion is made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries. Section 12, bills, 12.1. I've reviewed the bills and I'll make a motion to approve the bills on check register A dated August 10th, 2026, totaling $771,913.72.
Second.
Motion was made by the chair, seconded by Supervisor San Francisco. Is there any board discussion?
I would just like to say that adding that memo has been tremendously helpful to me, so thank you, Steve.
Any other board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Section 13, new business, 13.1. Can I get a motion approving appointing a voting delegate, Mr. Neese, and an alternate, we'll figure out who the alternate is going to be, to serve at the Resolutions Committee meeting and annual business meeting for the Pennsylvania Municipal League. So I believe the voting delegate will be Mr. Neese. Who did we send last year as the alternate delegate?
We actually didn't send anybody last year because this is actually that new membership that we have
Okay.
this year.
Who would you like to recommend? Who's not here tonight?
I don't know that we need an alternate, have to. If one of the board members would like to be an alternate, that would be my recommendation, but it should probably be either myself or, I mean, if I'm going as your main, I intend to go, so. But if you need an alternate, it would need to be a board member, most likely.
When's the summit again, or the conference? So
Yeah,
if we need an alternate, we'll add this on the agenda, but
Yeah.
so I'll amend the motion to just say, consider approving Mr. Stephen Neese as a voting delegate to serve at the Resolutions Committee meeting and annual business meeting for the Pennsylvania Municipal League. Motion was made by the chair, motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, Supervisor Chanlis, seconded by Supervisor Grosso. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 13.2. Can I get a motion publishing a meeting notice for the consideration of an ordinance authorizing the incurrence of lease rental debt to secure repayment of the guaranteed sewer revenue notes 2026 series to be issued to the Newtown Township Municipal Authority and award and execute related agreements and documents. The meeting will be held on Tuesday, August 18th, 2026 at 7 p.m. and we will legally advertise as required.
So moved.
Motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. Mr. Neese, do you want to add anything to this?
I would just add that this is a required step as part of the refinancing of the 2018 bonds that the municipal authority did for the sewer build out. If we recall, that was a $33 million cost, and I think we're down to about 29 million something, 280,000 or something like that, that needs to still be repaid. And so this would be refinancing those with the Del Val loan.
Any comments from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 13.3, consider approving the license plate reader donated to the police department and funded for 5 years by a third party for placement at Gradyville Road and 252.
So moved.
Motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. I know Captain Newell is being pulled out from the back. Mr. Showers, can you grab Captain Newell? So Captain Newell, we just got the 13.3, which is the license plate reader. I know that there were some comments, not necessary to hit on all of them, but I think from a high level, there were some things that, you know, we've already been doing here in the township, if you want to kind of expand a little bit on it.
Okay.
Did you pull that microphone out of your pocket?
No.
Oh, okay, I was about to say. Protect and serve, he's ready. Look at that.
Might do a song for you. Can't remember the exact comments that are concerns about it. First of all, they're not flock cameras. They're Viper. Viper is a company that only works within law enforcement. All their data that's collected is within the law enforcement circle. They typically store the data for a year. I would assume it's in the cloud. Obviously, it's a secure database. The information that's in that database is nothing more than car colors, car makes, license plates, time and dates and locations they pass through. It has no personal information whatsoever. So it's no more than if the township paid someone to sit at 252 and Route 3 and take a picture of every car that drove by. That's all we're getting. The police department has policies and procedures in place of how we access that information and what we do with it and when we're allowed to access that information. No other township officials, departments have access to that information. No private entities have access to that information. There's already license plate readers in the township through that Viper system already in place.
And those are privately owned by the most part. Well, not the most part, but there are entities that's private, the Vipers that are privately owned by HOAs and things like that.
There's one HOA that is using, that it actually benefits the township because it's on Goshen Road and so it's through the Lister development. They have no access to it whatsoever. The residents, the board, nobody. We're the only people that have access to that information or any of the data that can be collected by it. The township does have one at 252 and 3. Again, it's all enclosed law enforcement, cloud-based data. Sort of the year, same policies and procedures are in place when police can access it, what they do with that information, how they use it. I can tell you this, we've solved a lot of crime using those cameras. Those cameras are essential to solving crime these days.
And let's just talk about what type of crime is that?
Probably the most recent and what led up to getting the initial set of LPR readers that we're discussing tonight it was an incident in Marple Township where an individual was making threats to St. Pius Church, had made threats live time that he was headed to the church to do some, to have there was going to be violence at the church. We were able to capture the license plate as he was going through 252 and 3 on the way to the church, stopped the person and arrested the person. So they never got to St. Pius to do whatever they were going to do. So that would be, in my opinion, the most important. We've solved burglaries through it. We've solved theft cases through it.
Amber alerts, things.
Silver alerts, yeah, lost, older residents to get lost, amber alerts with kids. I don't think we've solved any amber alerts with it, but we
But it's
solved a
used-
lot of.
It's used, they use it a lot for Amber alerts, is that fair?
Yeah, amber alerts, silver alerts, anything that we would be, looking at.
And just like the other license plate reader, it would have been, excuse me, would have come before the board for a public vote, for approval. So the public would have been made aware of it. There would have been a public discussion, just like we're doing tonight with the prior one. Is that correct?
Sure.
Yep. Any questions from the board?
One thing to follow up, is it the donated piece of it? Just, can somebody just talk a little bit about the
Whether
donated
it's
piece?
private or not private,
Oh.
so we can't really.
I think it's fair to say that somebody in town found out that, that the camera was effectively used for the incident that Captain Newell discussed, and they felt like it was important enough to continue to have additional license plate readers in town to help. We feel pretty strongly it would be beneficial to have one at all four ends of the town, as well as what's going on 252 and 3, as well as what's going on Goshen. So it was in support of the direction that we want to head.
Great, thank you, Steve.
And they have no access to it. They
Right.
have no interest in access to it. They just were very impressed that we were able to stop that person to get to St. Pius to do whatever he was gonna do,
Right.
and offered to fund an additional camera for the township, which I thought was very generous.
Yeah, me.
Just like to point out also, we only have one intersection.
Currently, we have
the-
one
the-
intersection paid for by the township.
Right.
Correct.
Other townships have many intersections.
Marple has probably 8.
Yeah.
Upper Darby has almost every intersection.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, every township that I'm
Right.
aware of has at least one,
And-
and
and-
most have several, multiple.
And the comment about Greer Park having one, that is a camera, not a license plate reader that's on that private property looking at their business and Greer Park, correct? No.
The cameras, I don't know what the camera's looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on private property.
Right, and
no
it's not,
different
but
than
it's
the
not a
10
license plate reader.
It's no different than the 10 ring cameras that are
Correct.
on residents pointing
Yep.
towards the same way. It's just a camera.
Yep, thank you, Captain.
Any other questions from the board? Anything else you want to add, Captain Newell, before we call you back up for the last part?
No.
Thank you very much.
Maybe we can get that done right now.
Yeah. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 13.4, consider approving a sewer facilities planning module exemption mailer for indoor recreation at Marville. I do want to, well, let's get this motion made and then I'll make a
So
comment.
moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Grosso. I'm going to be recusing myself from this. My firm is involved in one of the projects down there. I have not been involved in it, but my firm represents an entity down there. So just out of an abundance of caution, I'm just going to recuse myself from the vote.
All in favor? For that?
And we're in discussion now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries 4-0 with one abstention. 13.5, consider awarding the 2026-2027 de-icing salt contract on behalf of 11 Delaware County municipalities to Eastern Salt Company Incorporated, who had the lowest responsible bid of $85.90 per ton. This award is subject to acceptance by other municipalities of their share of the contract obligation.
So moved.
Motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. Is there any board discussion?
Steve, we're getting 850 tons from what I've seen. Is that similar to what we got last year?
It's in the range.
Okay.
I would actually talk to George about this at depth on Friday afternoon to make sure I understood fully, but we typically get the amount that we think we need based on having to fill if we're not full already. If our salt bin is full from the prior year, then we drop the amount. If it's not full, then he puts a little bit more in to make sure that we can fill it before we get started for the year. So yes, it's usually between 850 and 100 or
And it's $85.90 per ton. Is that about the same as before? I was trying to see. how
no,
much-
it's not. It's
Okay.
actually, I think we figured out it was close to about $8 to $10 or more. What I will tell you, we're a little higher than the co-stars this year. Last year, we were $14 less. This year, I think we're about $6 more.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank George and the team.
Yeah.
I mean, last year, we were the only municipality to have salt and people were scrambling. And the cooperative bids and stuff like that, they do a great job of securing everything and getting us prepared for hopefully not a winter. Thanks, George.
Yes.
Any other board comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 13.6, consider awarding the 2026 pavement marking project to Guidemark Inc., who had the lowest responsible quote of $17,467.40. This project is anticipated to utilize the $13,331 allocation of county aid, with the remaining balance to be paid from the 2026 line painting budget. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Chandler, second by Supervisor San Francisco. Is there any board discussion? Mr. Neese? Nope, go ahead, Supervisor
No,
Grosso.
Yeah.
that's- I
Oh,
was-
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So, so this project, we're going to be doing a restriping along Campus Boulevard and Stony Brook Boulevard related to the bike lanes as well as the center line. We're using the county aid that we get to do that and then subsidizing that to make up the difference of about $4,000 from our line painting budget. And we have been doing different projects like this over the years. This year, that's the best way to use the county aid because we don't have an actual road program we're doing this year.
Any other questions for the township manager? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 13.7, can I get a motion approving the MMO minimum municipal obligation for the 2027 police pension plan of $427,267 and a non-uniform pension plan of $254,372?
So moved.
Motion was made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. Is there any board discussion? Mr. Neese, pretty cut and dry. Anything you want to add to it?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is it's about a $65,000 increase between the two of them over last year. And it has to do with where the markets are and also the number of folks that we have in our pension plans. But our pension plans are still healthy and we're still doing this on a market basis for funding them.
Perfect. Are we still at over 100%?
Let me say, as of the beginning of the year, I would assume with the way this year is going right now,
Yeah.
I didn't look at the stock market this
Yeah.
afternoon, but I think we probably are.
Any other questions for the township manager?
Stephen, this is just getting ready to budget for 2027.
Yeah, this is a requirement
Right.
that we have, that you have to approve this by September 30th. We have a really good pension team that assists us, and we always have it early in August. And so I always try to get it in and get it before you so that we can move on and be ready to go. It is a requirement of the state that you take this action.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the township manager? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 13.8, can I get a motion authorizing hiring Chuck Stemmons to the accountant position as a temp to hire contingent on passing all required background checks?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor San Francisco. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. 13.
Oh, Leonard, if I can just hop in there, just so people know, he brings strong financial leadership. He is a CPA. He's been an interim CFO, has a lot of oversight in multi-million-dollar organizations. So we did get a look at his resume, his budgeting, financial reporting, internal controls, audits. I think it makes him a solid choice. So Steve, I think that you would probably agree with that.
I do. We feel like it's a good move for the township. And hopefully we'll get all the background checks done quickly and he'll be in and going within the next couple of weeks.
Any other board comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. 13.9, consider authorizing George Needles as the Assistant Manager / Finance Director contingent on passing all required background checks.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Grosso. Mr. Neese.
Yeah, I would just say that George is going to come on initially as a part-time person for the first few months while he's kind of wrapping up a few things, and he'll be with us 3 days a week, working diligently. I'm going to have him start on our budget and making sure that 2026 is all good, and we can do some more financial reporting for that. So that's where he'll start, as well as some other projects in the township. And George has got years of experience. And the good news is he has years of experience as a township manager, administrator. And so this will give us a really good team as we move forward for the next year.
Turn it over to board comment.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Steve and his staff. No, we've had some finance issues, but getting the temporary finance director that we have in now, who's got us all our audits up to date, almost, just, we are actually in great positions. All the other boards, all the checks, everything it's great that we're gonna have this all ready for the new person to come in, hit the ground running with no baggage left over. And that's a lot of hard work by a lot of people in that office, and just great to have it back where we need to be financially and record keeping and audits and things like that. So thank you.
Any other board discussion?
I would just say that we did have a chance to meet George and talk to him. He does bring, as Steve said, many years of local government experience. I think he will be instrumental in helping us get to where we need to be. I also just want to highlight that he has secured more than $15 million in grants. So I think he had mentioned that he would be able to help us with implementing some of the comprehensive plan and helping us get the grants. And I think he will be helpful to the township and moving us forward.
I guess we'll just continue to go down the line. So I'm extremely excited about this hire. I have worked on the opposite side of the table with George in my professional capacity. I've been adverse to him on multiple zoning issues, but with regards to the way that he handled the municipality in which he's coming from, he completely revolutionized it. When he announced that he was going to be retiring or stepping back, I should say, from that position, there was a massive hunt going on in Delaware County to grab him. And the fact that we were able to get him, that he's excited to come to Newtown Township, it's going to be a huge step forward for Newtown Township from an individual who has multiple years of experience as a municipal manager with the background in municipal financing. And again, as Supervisor San Francisco said, having us have the finance department completely cleaned up for when he gets in here so that he's hitting the ground running. I'm excited to now work with him on the same team, as opposed to me having to, the two of us, respectfully disagree and argue with each other, which I'm sure we'll still do. But I'm excited to have him here in Newtown Township. But I think this is a great move for the township.
Just to say that I'm looking forward to having somebody with experience and have some stability at that position. So I know he's coming on part-time initially, but I think those are things we really need. So looking forward to that.
All right. Any other board comment?
Yes, I agree with what everybody said. Great hire.
There you go, Mike.
My man.
Get out there. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carries. 13.10, consider authorizing township staff to hire 2 part-time candidates for open administrative positions contingent upon passing required background checks.
So moved.
Motion was made by Supervisor Grosso, seconded by Supervisor Chandler. Is there any board discussion? Mr. Neese, pretty cut and dry. If you
Yeah,
don't
just
wanna add
cut and
anything.
dry. Last meeting, you actually authorized us using LHH to go out and start looking. They actually had brought us a couple candidates. One of them had an issue that ended up after I was going to present them to you tonight. He had a medical condition that he withdrew because of that, and we're still looking. So instead of having to wait until the September meeting when you would meet again, if we get them all lined up, we'll be able to hire those 2 and get started.
Perfect. Any other comments for the township manager? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. 1311, consider authorizing township staff and solicitor to finalize an agreement subject to the solicitor's comments and concerns between employee number 1009 and the township for a disability separation as recommended by the township's insurance carrier, authorizing the township manager to sign any required documents.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, if I can, before you.
Real quick, motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Russo.
Yeah, I just want you to amend the motion. That's why I wanted to catch it before it was actually made.
Whoop.
So we wanted to make sure that your solicitor not only is reviewing it, but that his comments related to subrogation are addressed as can be.
Perfect. So Supervisor San Francisco, you made that motion. You're fine with that amendment?
Yes.
Supervisor Russo, are you still fine with seconding that amended motion?
Yes, sir.
Supervisor Desiree, I almost said Supervisor, Ms. Stevens.
one of us.
Yeah. Sorry to degrade you like that.
I know what this.
Desiree, if you just need to get that language for the minutes, just coordinate with Rich. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, now we'll turn it over to section 14, which is public comment for anything that any resident might have unrelated to the agenda. Come on up, Mr. Butler. Same thing, 3 minutes for residents and taxpayers. If you're both, that's actually pretty good.
The township approved Vision Zero, I think, in October or November. The county would provide free consulting service. I'm wondering why we haven't looked to them to look at Bishop Hall to come up with ideas on safety on there. Because you heard a lot of opinions tonight that it is unsafe. PennDOT has to agree for the occupancy certificate. Is there public input to oppose that? Or could Hunters Run Group go to the meeting? Or is that something that they don't have a public meeting? I want to thank you for finally putting on the payment list information of what actually is being paid, because it gives people an idea of what's actually being spent versus what we didn't have before. The other thing, a lot of towns online, they have a budget information and it shows income coming in monthly and all, even small towns. And like I'm a guy on this amusement tax, why it wasn't collected and all. And if we had a report that would show amusement tax coming in, I mean, I'm concerned we're not collecting on other things. We got it from the big tournament and got the big hunk of money. But like, are we collecting on daily play from non-members there? There's a lot there, and I'm just curious, that would show me that. And it would help the board to know what the running total is. You are doing a bond refinance. Do we have any numbers on what the savings will be? Because that's normally, when every meeting that I've ever gone somewhere, we showed the cost of doing the refine and the savings over the period of the bond. And I haven't heard anything about that. And that would be, the reason to do it, and it'd be money into the budget. And I think that's going into the sewer fund, and that would help. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. I will say that with regards to the municipal authority one, because it's a good question, I would tell you to go to a municipal authority meeting. We did do our own independent analysis of the refinancing that the municipal authority is requesting. They refused to do that, so we had to do our own independent analysis of that. What I would tell you to do is, since the only reason why we have to back it is because we have to essentially put our taxing authority, we're backing it by our taxing authority, so that's what, it's really the municipal authority's bonds. What I would tell you to do is reach out to the municipal authority.
One comment.
Yep.
That I forgot. I went to EAC meeting the other day.
Yep.
Listened to it.
I'm letting you slide in, so don't make it a good one.
All right.
Well, please
They-
move over towards the mic.
Okay.
Thank you.
They canceled the annual environmental fair. that was very informative for the last 2 years, because they only have 3 members. They used to have 5, like a lot of the boards. The manager still goes there. I see no savings. We've lost a real benefit for the community. The business group and the community got a lot of information from that. And it makes no sense, because 3 people can't do the job.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Any other public comment, ma'am?
Sitting there, so I hobbled over.
Mr.
I'm
Your name. and
Becky Legere, 21 Hunters Run. And I did want to say thank you to the board for attentively listening, eyes on the speaker, from everyone in my development who had comments to make about the sidewalk issue. And I hope those comments isn't a dead end. I hope it's a continued conversation. I also have a question on another topic. I don't know if you can answer questions or if this is just a comment.
Just public
period.
comment, but I might, if it's something I have an answer to, I might give you an answer at the end if I can do it.
I know that
After the meeting.
Rite Aid property was at, a car wash was asking for a variance. And I saw that a decision was going to be made on that by the zoning board, I think it was. I have been away and I haven't seen any information on what was decided.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't know
simple.
if anyone can
I-
answer that.
I'm not going to answer it because I have a conflict, so I'll turn it over to our solicitor.
There was not a variance request. It was what they call a special exception, which is a little different. Special exception is a permitted use that goes through a.
Rich, make sure that microphone's nice and close to you. Start that over again.
Sure. It was not a variance request. A variance is a deviation from the code. Okay, this was a special exception request, which is a permitted use, but there's a special process that you go through to obtain that permitted use. And the zoning board voted in favor of granting the special exception with about 18 conditions.
Okay. And where is that information available for me to be able to find and read? What those conditions were? It will be posted. It is out?
If.
Real quick, let me just say, he was commented, there was a video online. The video for that particular meeting, we had problems with his system, and it actually cut out right in the middle of them reading the 18 conditions. Have we gotten the copy yet officially? Yeah, we have an official copy. You're more than welcome to come in and request a chance to look at it.
Come into this building?
Come into this building and
Okay.
just request it. Okay.
Todd Hall, 535 Country Club Lane, taxpayer. I just would like to thank the township for the responses provided this evening regarding the high-profile event over the weekend, along with responses that were provided earlier. I'm glad to hear that this will be a matter of zoning that will be looked into and enforced. I'm especially glad to hear that, given that I know of a church in Delaware County where they have religious use for their land. It's a zoning matter. They have church services outside 5 to 6 times a year. They're zoned for religious use. And they're told, no, that's a performance venue. You need to have a performance venue established in zoning. So if that's going to be the climate in Delaware County for enforcement, I'm glad to see there's similar enforcement for other things. Thanks.
Any other resident or taxpayer for public comment? Ms. McCutcheon.
Yes, Suzanne McCutcheon, 149 Ashley Road. I just want to say thank you to Steve Mostardi, but he already left, I'm sorry, for everything he's done for Newtown and Bloom, which makes our town more beautiful. And I walk by there every day, so I love to see that. Thank you to George Sherritt and the Public Works for the ongoing assistance for the library book sale. The next one's in October. I think they helped us shift like 150 boxes in the back room. So we have filled up with books ready for the book sale. Thank you to Captain Newell for more information on the Viper cameras. That's VIPR, in case anybody wanted to look that up, and the incident over the weekend. That's it.
Any other residents or taxpayer? Just your name and address, sir.
Yes, sir. The name is Robert Atkinson, 26 Main Street. I have a,
Yeah, it's Main Street.
yes,
You're good, sir.
I have a question in reference to the children's baseball field. Is there a possibility they could increase the parking up there? Whoever owns the property, I have no idea. Has that been asked?
You're talking about for Nell?
What is it
I
called?
think he's referring to NSPL because
Oh.
of the sidewalk discussion and the people
Yes.
that cross over.
Yes.
The petticoat loop.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Sorry.
Yes. Who owns the property and has anyone asked them, can they increase parking space up there?
So the township owns the property. With regard to conversations with NSPL, I don't know if, you know, normally, let me say this, I don't know if anyone from the township has had any conversations with them. I know that constantly NSPL is, my understanding, having conversations with neighbors over there. Whether they bear any fruit or not is a whole different thing, but I do believe that the conversations have occurred. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's all the
The
information. I have.
existing site is tight and it's filled with fields and parking, the existing site.
Is there a possibility they could increase the parking in Hunter's Run?
This is public comment and it's just public comment. There's no give and take. So you can just make your comment in the 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I have one suggestion. When people come up here to speak, could you remind them to use the microphone closer?
Yeah, that's a fair
Because
point.
sitting in the back, it's very difficult. You people can hear them, whether they use the microphone or not.
Yeah.
But also, some of the people on the board here are not using the microphone as well.
Yep. That's fair, Mr. Atkinson. Usually it's pretty good. We can hear each other. I don't know what's going on tonight, but I agree with you. So we'll just make sure we're being mindful of that.
Okay, thank you.
Sir.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Any other public comment? All right, we'll turn it down to board comment. Why board tonight? All right, thank you very much. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.